Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about surviving having a father who murdered somebody. So this is going to be difficult for me to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it anyways, okay? So my dad was abused as a kid by his mother. It's like she had no heart for him. She didn't even know who the father was. She had my dad hunting for his father. Now, I think at a young age, my grandmother married someone who adopted my dad. And out of respect for him, I don't want to say any names, but my cousin by the adoption was told by my adopted father's wife that he was in fact the father of my dad. So I had the DNA test done since I've been back here, and no, he's not. And it was hard to tell my cousin that it wasn't so, and that I don't know what the actions of my grandmother was back then. She never spoke about it, and I wasn't even born yet. So at one point, my grandmother told my dad it was a man up in Watsonville. My dad and my mom and I and maybe my brother went, but when we were getting out of the car, a little Filipino man comes out the front door, and my dad says, "Oh, you get to meet your grandpa." Energetically in my mind, I said, "That's not my grandpa," but I respected it, and so forth and so on. And anywho, the story that I know is my dad went back to my grandmother and said, "I found him." And then she said, I didn't say that. I said a different name that sounded very similar. So it's been a struggle trying to connect the pieces, and I don't know if I ever will be able to. But to get down to what happened with my father was basically, I believe his spirit was damaged by his mother. He went off and he married my mother and whatnot, and had a bunch of kids, and he worked hard trying to feed us all. And I didn't hear about any of this until I was in my 30s, but my dad was messing around. Well, actually, I knew my dad was messing around with my oldest brother's girlfriend because I was just a kid right after my mom died. But I didn't know it was prior to my mom's death. So that's the knowledge that I received in my 30s, was that my dad was messing around with his oldest son's girlfriend before my mother passed away. So not only was he betraying his son, he was betraying his wife. He was betraying his whole family. So after he married her, there was a moment that I thought about my brother Robert. And then I said in my mind, I don't care, I just want to see Dad happy. So the house that my parents bought was sold. It was just me and my brother that was left in the house, and she had an adopted son. So the five of us took off down to El Centro, California, where my dad was really trying to start new, I guess, and it wasn't an easy road. He started working in the lettuce fields again, being, in his 40s. That's hard work, cutting lettuce and cabbage and so forth. But we had 2 apartments. The kids had one, and the oldest was in 9th grade. Ninth grade. And down to kindergarten, which was our stepbrother. So we became the caretakers of him. We had to walk to the grocery store to get the groceries. We had to do the laundry on Saturday, and we'd be there all day waiting for them to come back to get us. We had to make sure that the stepbrother got a bath and brushed his teeth and got to bed and got up and walked him to school. And my stepmom, my dad would go out of town and work about 30 miles away, but he said it's best if he just stayed at the camp and worked during the week and came home on the weekends. And she decided she was going to be a bartender or barmaid, I'm not sure. But in the middle of the night, I heard her in the kitchen, because our apartment had the kitchen, hers didn't. And the light was on, and she was rattling through the refrigerator. That's what woke me up. And I'm laying in bed, and some guy opens the door and peeks in. So I knew that something was going on. And we started really being mean to her in front of our dad, and he really showed a lot of joy for his stepson's birthday, which he never even sat at the table with us for any of his own children's birthdays. He always just went in the bedroom. So we were very jealous about that, and it was hard. My brother one day called her a bitch, and my dad smacked him, and he left. My brother left, and one of my other brothers was working somewhere in the fields. And I thought my dad, if he got a hold of my brother, he'd beat the living hell out of him. And my stepmom said, "What should I do? Should I call the cops?" And I said, "Yeah." Then, after it all settled out and the police brought, I guess, both of them back, my dad asked me, "Why did you tell Pat to call the police? You know your brother was wrong." I said, "Dad, you have Pat. Kenny doesn't have anybody." Then my dad understood. So it didn't stop there. We knew she was cheating. We saw the signs. And she kept threatening that she was going to put us on a bus back to our sister's house. And we were happy. We just kept it up till she put us on the bus. And she got the tickets, and she's like, "No refunds." We weren't worried about any refunds, but we ended up coming back home to northern or central California, and me and Kenny, we stayed with one of my sisters just for a few days, and my brothers went to stay with our cousins, and I stayed with my oldest sister. Then my dad came for me, and he wanted to know where I wanted to go. Did I want to stay or did I want to go? I didn't know where go was, so I said I wanted to stay. I was in my junior year living with my second sister, and I ran into a little old man, little Filipino man. I was walking home from school, and he had the brim hat and the 3-piece suit, and I looked down at his shoes. They were black and shiny, and I just smiled at him. Then he stopped. He's like, "Are you Rudy's daughter?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "How did you know?" And he said, "I haven't seen you since you were a toddler." I don't know how he recognized me because I was like 16. Anyways, I said, "Have you seen my dad?" He's like, "Yeah, he lives in San Luis." And he told me the street name. And for 3 weeks, I begged my sister to take me. She's like, "How are you going to find him?" I said, "We'll just go down the street. If we see his truck, I'll start door knocking till I find him." Because I hadn't seen him for like 4 years. And she wouldn't do it. I asked her every day. And I think I stopped asking her after 3 weeks. And then that weekend, a phone call came through. And my dad had killed someone. My aunt was calling because she saw it on the news. All I could do was leave the house. I walked almost all the way down to the ocean, crying. Because I thought maybe if I would have just seen him and connected with them, maybe things could have been different. Then I had to see him in the county jail. And I guess my sister's already told him that his wife was cheating and that me and my brother knew it. And he asked me, he's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" Well, you know, when a kid says something, sometimes the adult doesn't believe it. Sometimes the adult can be swayed. I didn't want to risk it, but I did tell Dad. I said, "Dad," I said, "I didn't want to break your heart. I couldn't tell you." Now that affected me. It affected me when my mom died in high school. This boy, there was a group of us. We'd all take lunch break together. And he asked me, "Why do I live with my sisters?" I wasn't ready to answer that question, so I just got up and left, and I was crying about it. But then my dad killing somebody. Everybody judges you. Everybody that knows judges you. They judge you like you're a bad person because of what your dad did. And that you should be ashamed. When I got back to town, the mayor, well, he was tricked into it by my uncle. They're having donuts and coffee for veterans. And I went. And when we came out, my uncle thought he was going to shame me. And he was going to have someone else shame me. And he told the mayor, he said, "Oh, this is my niece, MarciaPili. You know her dad, Rudy." And the mayor laughs, oh, good old Rudy. You know, trying to shame me. I got 2 inches away from his face. I said, "Listen here, I was born here, and I live here now. So I'm here to clean my family's name up. Do you understand me?" And he backed up. Had I been a man, I would have dotted both of his eyes. And he was mad at me for a while, till I spoke to my cousin, who happens to be related to him. And I said, I wasn't really mad at him. I mean, I was mad that that happened, but my uncle set it up. He thought that I would cower down. So if the mayor's mad at anybody, he should be mad at him, not me. And my first husband, their family, behind my back, talked about it. tainting someone's name because of what their father did. You know, I couldn't control what he did, but I had to suffer for what my dad did. Wherever I go, I don't hide about it. I don't lie about it. I say the raw truth. Because if I put the truth out, there's nothing else to talk about. So I share this with you because other people are living through this right now, somewhere in this world. And they have to know that you are a child of someone who murdered someone, and you didn't have anything to do with it, and you can grow up and decide that I'm not going to be that way when I grow up. And you know, today's my dad's birthday. I think he was born in 1930. I don't know exactly, but today's his birthday. And I say to people, am I supposed to love him less because he's a murderer? Is that what God would want me to do? Is that what my grandma would want me to do? I love my dad. No matter what, a child loves their parent, and they should be allowed to love them. It's just been, I'm not saying my life has been bad, because it really hasn't. I get up every day and I tell myself it's a new day. The sun's shining or it's cloudy. You know, I got things I got to do. I got to take care of my dog. I got to take care of myself. I got to do all these things. I'm not going to fall apart because my dad did something bad that was horrific, that affected a lot of people outside of my family. But people around them have to stop judging the children for what their dad did. My dad wasn't all bad. He fought for people to have better lives. He was a Teamster organized. As much as people might say the Teamsters, the mafia, and they're bad or whatever, I don't really know. I worked at UPS who had the Teamster. You know, I worked at several different places. You know, those are people who are fighting for the workers out there to get fair pay, to get their benefits. My dad wasn't all bad, but people only want to look at the bad. And if they search you out and they can't find bad, then they make it up. So I'm actually contemplating filing a lawsuit against a major company because I told them about one of their employees with defamation of character of my name. And I'm praying about it right now because I got to stand in my truth. And I have to get everything lined up, and I have to get the right attorney, and I have to say my piece about it. I already had told them this was going on, and they did nothing. People lied for this person who said I was sleeping around, who said I had sexual disease, who said I was a tramp. I was on drugs. I was out of my mind. All these things this person said about me, people had to believe it because she had power over them. She had power over them, and if they wanted to fit in, they had to agree. They had to agree with whatever she was doing, whatever she was saying. That's abuse of power. So you see, I need my vindication now. I've stayed in my own lane this past 3 years. And she's so infatuated with me, she follows me because I am a public person. I am a creator online. And God's going to be with me, just as He always has. He's going to tell me when to make the moves, and He's going to tell me who to see. Let's not throw words around, people. It's not kind. And it's not fair. And when I see this person face to face, they act different. So this person doesn't have the oomph to say it to my face. It all has to be behind my back, which indicates that she is a weasel. She is a backstabber. She has serious mental issues. But I want my name to stay out of her mouth. So I have to take charge and do what I need to do. So you see, life, the good, the bad, the love, the fight, we all go through it. We all suffer from it. The thing is, are we just going to put our blinders on and act like it never happened? Are we going to just let them say whatever and just pray that God fixes them? God might tell me, no, we're not going to do that. I'll take care of it. You know, right now I'm praying about it. And I'm tired of my name being put out like trash. You know, like a pile of cow crap. So when you're out there in the world and you see that doing wrong, you see someone doing someone else wrong, if you don't speak up, you're just as guilty as the person saying it. People have to learn to stand up. Does it make sense? Are we all going to be afraid to lose our job if we speak up against someone above us that's doing wrong? I don't want to lose faith in this world. I don't want to lose faith in people. I want to hold on to hope that people will open their eyes and they'll learn that standing up is always the right thing. If you treat your neighbor like your closest relative that you...
gold mine of local intel.
Tell us about this corn festival.
Oh, you got your corn pudding.
Oh, is it safe around here?
Sometimes.
No eyebrows?
Think of how light it'll feel in the summer. We gotta run. 11,000 more neighborhoods to go.
Ding dong.
Homes up.
I'm sorry. You know, I say the ones that closest to you that you just love and they love you back because, you know, we do have family members that kind of act like they're strangers, you know, like your presence doesn't matter. So when I say you treat people like you would want to be treated, you treat people like you would want your daughter treated, your son treated, your mother treated, your grandparents treated. You know, I've always done that. I've always looked at people like I'm going to treat you like I would want to be treated. A lot of people get that, but there's a lot of hurt souls out there that don't get it. That they're so damaged that they haven't faced what's going on within them. And it makes them act erratic. It makes them say things to puff their chest out. False things. You know, it's not a good look, especially when you can see right through it. Those are the people that you know that you can never trust. Because if they talk about me behind my back, as soon as you leave, they're talking about you, and so forth and so on. And everybody sits back and giggles and thinks it's funny, yet they know that deep down inside, as soon as that person walks away, they're talking about everybody. That's what they do. They can't even really get that much work done because they're busy talking about everybody. That's pretty pathetic. That's a sad thing. But I guess the moral of the story that I'm trying to tell you is when you have a parent that murders someone, it follows you around forever. So it's best that you don't hide it. You don't make it a secret. Because that's when it could really hurt you. When you hold on to it and think it's a secret, yet people look back on your history and then they find it. They got something to get you all in an uproar. But it still hurts. It still hurts. My dad, I love him. I always have loved him. You know, even when he was mean to my brother, throwing a wrench at him, it scared the living heck out of me. And it wasn't a nice thing to do. But then I had to understand when my brother hurt me and my sister that he's just acting out because of what Dad did to him. Who could he voice it to? You know? When especially being a man, you know, men are raised to hold everything in and not say anything. My brother was a big teddy bear. He was trying to learn how to be responsible, but, you know, he didn't do exactly everything my dad asked him to. But he never deserved that. God bless him. My brother Randy, God bless him. He's been gone for 2 or 3 years now. And no matter how bad he hurt me, physically, because he hurt me one time really bad, I was never mad at him, because I knew he was hurt, because that happened like a week or two before what my dad did to him. So I'm telling you, protect each other as if each other was your sibling when you're out on a job. You know, when you're out, you know, if you're out in the service, you know, everybody depends on everybody. Because if there's one little weak link in that whole battalion, you know, all hell can break loose. So regardless of how these groups of people fighting in a war, you know, they might not like each other, but they have a job to do. And they look after each other. We have to look after each other. You know, just look after each other as if they were our own, because we are all energetically connected. So I thank God that He's given me this platform so I can talk to you about something devastating that happened in my life, and I probably didn't get to the nitty-gritty on how I got through it. I can only tell you that God's always been with me. God has always been with me. God's heard me cry. He's heard me laugh. He's heard me in my worst and my best and everything in between. So that would be my answer for you today is, by God's grace did I make it to be where I'm at today. But let's start protecting everybody from harmful people, okay? Thank you, and God bless. I'll try to do a reading later. Have a great day. Sending love and light, healing, happy vibes to you. Bye-bye for now.